Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna submitted an official letter to NASA demanding they release classified images of 3I Atlas. The images were taken a month ago by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, and NASA has been sitting on them. This story has gotten so big that even Kim Kardashian is now asking questions. But that's not all. We also have breaking developments on crash retrievals, underwater UFO encounters, and what might be the largest UAP incursion on a U.S. military base in history. Let's break it all down. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey, ufologers, I'm Christina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has actually submitted two separate letters to NASA Administrator Sean Duffy regarding 3I Atlas, and the difference between them is worth looking at. The first letter, dated on July 31st, focused on a proposal to redirect the Juno spacecraft from its orbit around Jupiter to intercept 3I Atlas, citing analysis from Avi Loeb showing that applying a thrust specifically on September 14th could position Juno to study the object up close using its full suite of instruments when 3I Atlas passes within about 53 million kilometers of Jupiter on March 16th, 2026, at an estimated cost of about $15 million for a 6-month mission extension. However, the second letter, dated October 31st, takes a completely different approach and reveals what may be the real issue. Instead of proposing new observations, Luna is now demanding NASA release data it has been collecting, specifically requesting the highest resolution high-rise camera images from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter taken on October 2nd and October 3rd with 30 kilometer per pixel resolution, which looks something like this. Any supplementary data from Mars's mission that detected unusual activity when 3I Atlas passed within 30 million kilometers of Mars around October 3rd, observations from the Parker Solar Probe, Hubble and James Webb Space Telescope, and even data on other interstellar objects in NASA's database. And this shift from proposing future observations to demanding existing data suggests that by October, Luna realized NASA had already been observing 3I Atlas extensively, but was refusing to share what they found with the scientific community and the public. Simultaneously, Harvard physicist Avi Loeb also sent a request to Professor Alfred Ekwin at the University of Arizona, the principal investigator for the HiRISE camera team, and as of his article publication, he received no response. And yes, after weeks of continuous coverage, the story has exploded into mainstream consciousness. Kim Kardashian tweeted at NASA Administrator Sean Duffy asking, "Wait, what's the T on 3I Atlas?" NASA's response? They claimed it is just the third interstellar comet to pass through our solar system. No aliens, no threat. But here's the problem. Data tells a completely different story, and that is why Congress is getting involved. Here's Nick Pope, former UK Ministry of Defense official, explained to Fox News what's at stake.
This thing should break up when it goes to the sun because the sun, as we know, very, very hot. Things go near it, they break up. But if it remains intact and moves away from the sun, that could be a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence. What do you think it's going to do, Nick?
If it does do anything really unusual and it proves to be technological, it will be the biggest story in history. But if nothing else, look, this has got everyone thinking about this as a possibility. And that ties in, as I say, with the fact that this whole subject is now viewed not as kind of conspiracy theory or science fiction, but as a serious defense and national security issue.
Here's what we know so far about 3I Atlas. According to research published by Avi Loeb, 3I Atlas exhibits 10 separate anomalies that set it apart from every known comet, including a retrograde trajectory aligned with a 5 degrees of the ecliptic plane, with only a 0.2% probability of occurring naturally, a jet pointing toward the sun instead of away from it, a nickel to iron ratio resembling industrially produced alloys rather than natural asteroids, a nickel to cyanide ratio, orders of magnitude higher than any known comet with less than 1% probability of being natural, only 4% water content by mass compared to the water-rich components of typical comets, extreme negative polarization never before seen in any comet, arrival timing that brought it within tens of millions of kilometers of Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, while remaining unobservable from Earth at perihelion with a probability of only 0.005%. Trajectory originating from within 9 degrees of the 1977 WOW signal, location with a 0.6% probability of coincidence, faster brightening near perihelion than any known comet while appearing bluer than the sun, and non-gravitational acceleration requiring massive evaporation of 1/6 its mass despite post-perihelion images showing no evidence of such mass loss. Elon Musk mentioned in a recent podcast with Joe Rogan that natural asteroids can be rich in nickel, and this is true, but those asteroids are also rich in iron. The problem with 3I Atlas is the ratio. Too much nickel, not enough iron. That is the red flag scientists just simply can't explain. And there is much more that we need to cover, so don't go anywhere. We need to still talk about what's happening with unidentified objects crashing on Earth and how the military responds.
Well, how quickly might the government respond to a crash of an unknown object? What happened back on September 23rd on public land outside the boundary of Area 51 is a textbook example of how crash retrievals work. And to no one's surprise, pretty much everything told to the public since then is pure fiction.
Arnu runs the website Dreamland Resort and monitors Area 51 radio traffic around the clock. On the morning of September 23rd, he heard something astonishing on the security channels. And there had been a large but totally secret air operation in the middle of the night, and something had gone wrong.
So we just had an asset go down. We had an asset go down. This is not Creech security, this is Area 51 security. And they had an asset go down. And then the next thing.
Yeah, clear. Also, short be advised, is the UAV unmanned aircraft with ordnance.
He picked up details about strict security measures which were implemented almost immediately. Not only was Area 51 itself locked down, but within a very short time, so too was a large swath of the Tikaboo Valley.
Within minutes, Area 51 was locked down. Security teams were deployed across the entire Tikaboo Valley. Every road was blocked. Armed military personnel, sheriff deputies, and a military helicopter with an attached basket were all on site. They even brought portable toilets, which means they had planned for a multi-day operation.
But while driving on what's known as Mailbox Road, he ran into an armed patrol.
They had the gun in front of them, not pointed at me, but very visibly in front of them. And it was clear they meant business.
The military graded a road up to the crash site and retrieved the debris. Then, 4 days after the crash, the security team vanished. Arnu went back out for a look, and the Air Force had used heavy equipment to plow a dirt road across a section of the desert. Arnu followed it and found what he thought was the crash site, then shared it online. That's when things got really strange. A second wave of cleanup crews descended on the site, and they used graders to cover up the entire area with a thick layer of dirt. A literal cover-up. But it only gets worse. After covering up the site, someone scattered debris from another aircraft across the area.
Arnu, who was at the site of a genuine Reaper crash years earlier, says there's no way the Air Force could ever recover every piece of a crashed aircraft, so they added some dirt and sprinkled in some misdirection instead.
If I were them, I would probably do just that.
Now, let me take you beneath the surface. Ross Kothar for News Nation has been collecting reports from submariners across multiple nations.
I have had a succession of submariners contact me from US, British, French, and Australian submarine services who have quietly told me about confrontations with enormous objects underwater, often travelling, believe it or not, at faster than the speed of sound in water. which is mind-boggling if you think about it. So, I am fascinated by the idea that there are, if you think about it, so much of the Earth's surface is covered with water. And if you were a non-human civilization trying to stay out of sight, but also wanting to monitor these primitive apes up on the land, the water would be a good place to hide.
Faster than the speed of sound in water. That is over 1,480 meters per second. The fastest submarine ever built, the Soviet K-222, could barely reach 44 knots, about 23 meters per second. We're talking about objects moving at speeds that make our most advanced technology look primitive. Ross also mentioned that there are designated no-go areas for naval vessels in parts of the Pacific and Atlantic. Officially, these are military training ranges. But could some of them be covering up areas of unknown USO activity? Let's connect these dots. We have an interstellar object exhibiting technological characteristics. We have documented cases of military crash retrieval operations that involve cover-ups and disinformation, and we have submariners reporting encounters with objects moving at impossible speeds underwater. All of this is happening while Congress is supposedly pushing for disclosure. Vice President J.D. Vance has publicly stated that he is getting to the bottom of the UFO issue, and that is a priority that he mentioned on Pod Force 1. The newly formed task force on the declassification of federal secrets is looking into UAPs, but NASA refuses to release the high-rise images of 3I Atlas. I'm Christina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.